That's Novi there with weavers in East Kalimantan, who I see as curators because they have the knowledge not only of the techniques, but also of the patterns of the weavings. They have, they know the stories behind the patterns. They know the aesthetic systems. Those are things that curators, professional curators, have to know about their collections in museums. There's a Pua cloth, which is very famous. And then this is from Nata's museum in Nias, Museum Pusaka Nias, that is a wonderful example of appropriate museology after the earthquake, the terrible earthquake in 2005. Nata and his staff had to rebuild a lot of the museum and a storage area, but this time they used appropriate museology for a museum in an area that has lots of earthquakes. So how do you do that in a way that's not terribly expensive, because most museums in Indonesia, community-based museums around the world, people don't have a lot of money. They can't buy expensive archival quality materials. So Nata, maybe you can explain what you used here to protect the ceramics.
Yeah, after the earthquake in Nias, a very enormous earthquake, then we think about the collection, because a lot of collection were broken at the time. We have pottery, we have ceramics, we have a jar. And then if we buy from the market to find the material to save the collection, so we will not find. Even if we have money, we will not find the material. Then we think about how to the solution, and then we try to find some, let's say, in the store, in Chinese store, then they don't use it anymore because they have stereo radio or some electronics tools. Then they throw it away, and then we could take them to give it to us, and then we use it. Styrofoam. Yeah, styrofoam. And then also we have, because the earthquake is very often happen, and then in some cases also we have to make the mount of the collection we make from the natural material there, bamboos, and also some we just tied it as the consideration is the safety of the collection. We are not thinking about how it is standard or not standard. The first idea is how to save the collection if the earthquake happened. And then also, you know, the storage is, we open the storage and then we make a ventilation, because, you know, Nias is very, very hot. It's there. If we are not able to make also air condition or to control the temperature inside, but then how to make it? Now we have the ventilation, and it's easy for us to clean, and then also the air is coming in, and also air circulation is there. So this is the way, very, let's say, very simple way how to take care the collection. Thank you.
Yeah, so it's an example of appropriate museology and using local resources and materials and local knowledge too, and which I think is an example of indigenous curation. I'll just finish here with some slides from a very big museum, very professional museum in the United States, the National Museum of the American Indian, which is part of the Smithsonian Institution. And what's unique about this museum, even though it's the Smithsonian, which is the national museum in the United States and kind of state-of-the-art and best practices, because this museum is by and for Native people, indigenous people of the Americas, and to educate the public about Native cultures and histories, and to respect what is called traditional care methods that now we know from working with Native people that they have had their own ways of taking care of things that are valuable to them, ritual regalia, ceremonial objects, clothing, that sort of thing. And they not only have developed techniques for taking care of things, but they have their own ways or ideas about how things should be stored in museum collections. In this slide, all of those pieces of paper have instructions to the staff about what you can and cannot, who is allowed to look in that cabinet and who is not, based on the cultural protocol, the cultural rules of whatever tribe's material is in those cabinets. And for example, how certain objects like masks that are female cannot be in the same cabinet with masks that are male. And a mask that is used in a death ceremony has to be facing up or has to be facing down. So every tribe has its own curatorial methods or way of taking care of and storing things. And the museum, a very mainstream, large museum, has incorporated those traditional care methods into its curatorial practices. And this is very revolutionary, but it's out of respect for those other ways of taking care of things and preserving that knowledge that we have millions of objects collected from Native Americans that we meaning anthropologists, archaeologists, museum people, very good at collecting the stuff, the things, but we didn't pay attention to or recognize how they took care of things, what kind of meanings and values the Native people gave to those objects. Because we thought, well, we know how to do that because we're professional museum people and anthropologists and scientists. We didn't record that knowledge, but now we've begun to record that knowledge along with knowledge about the things.